The American Heritage Dictionary states that the definition of biography is 1. An account of a person's life, written, composed, or produced by another. 2. Biographies considered as a group, especially when regarded as a genre. 3. The writing, composition, or production of biographies. The American Heritage Dictionary also states that the definition of beginning a bullshit scholastic speech, statement, or 10-minute poetry presentation is to begin it with the American Heritage Dictionary states. In picking this poet, I looked through our anthology of poetry and came to some poems that spoke with direct confrontational language, smacked of modern angst for the American established, and the most rancid and entrenched attributes of contemporary life, including the profit motive, religious hypocrisy, racist stereotyping, neocolonialism, and more. Justin Chin, born in Malaysia, raised and educated in Singapore, shipped to the U.S. by way of Hawaii, is now living in San Francisco. He is the author of 3 books of poetry, all published by Manic Depressed. Bite Hard, 1997, Harmless Medicine, which was a finalist in the Bay Area Book Reviewers Association Awards, and Gutted, 2006, which received the 2007 Tom Gunn Award for Poetry by the Publishing Triangle. That, my friends, tells you absolutely nothing about him. Where he was born and where he went to school is almost completely irrelevant to our knowledge of the artist. What will tell you the most about him is our interaction through conversation, and perhaps the most revealing aspects of him are through his poetry. One of the many benefits of selecting a contemporary poet is they are still alive. One of the many benefits of selecting a younger poet is that they know how to use the internet. And one of the many benefits of being me, Joe Coyler, is that I am fortified with tiny spheres of awesome. I emailed Justin and he responded. Here is his response. And listen for references of some ideas that we talked about in regards to Death of the Author. Hello, Joe. I'm honored, flattered, weirded out, slightly bewildered that you've chosen me to do your presentation on. Is my style of writing confrontational? Never thought it was. But maybe my earlier work had more swagger in its butt. And the works you've picked were written about 10 years ago. But it's interesting that people have often seen my work as angry, or aggressive, or even confrontational, which I never think it is, but that's just me. And I've possibly been in the monkey house too long to notice the poop anymore. And that they expect me to be likewise, which always surprises them when they find out that I'm the least aggro, angry, pissant, in-your-face kind of guy. As to your request, biography, well, in spite of the nature of my work, I tend to be a highly private person. I can direct you in the way of what's publicly available. Or you can just make something up. Just make it good. The person does the writing, and the I in the work are not necessarily the same person. It's kind of like how we have different ways of being for different social settings and occasions. But at some point, and to some degree, the work has to stand on its own, and has to forge its own relationship with the reader independent of the author. Which is not to say the who and the what of the author is immaterial, but how much can or should it affect and influence what the reader sees in the work? Can a morally broke person tell a moral story? Can an evil or distasteful person tell a story that is full of beauty and truth? Blah, blah, blah. I'm oversimplifying and understating here, of course, but I think you get the idea. It was after this email that I found his phone number. I called him and asked him for a phone interview. Conservatively speaking, he seemed annoyed at best with my proposition. There was not much information about him on the internet, and I needed more to have a cohesive and relevant presentation. I called him again and offered him money. But now, even more aggravated, he declined and threatened a restraining order. With the project being due in a week, and most of my student loan money being spent on a sweet Lenovo X61T tablet PC with 4 GB of PC 5300 RAM, a T77 1.8 GHz Core 2 processor, I knew flying out there was out of the question. Drastic times called for drastic measures.